Welcome back. As promised, we have a very special guest with us. The big boss of BSE, Mr. Ramamurthy, is with us here on CNBC-TV18. Thanks a lot, Mr. Ramamurthy, for speaking to us here on CNBC-TV18. And first of all, before we get to business, congratulations to BSE, all the investors, traders, and every Indian as well, as will complete 150 years. It's been a long journey from under the banyan tree to Dalal Street. Give us your first take on that.
Namaskar for having me with you today. Yes, it's a very proud moment for the country, the stock exchange, and the investors of this country, and to all people who have contributed to the growth of this wonderful organization. From banyan tree to this place, what you were talking, if you look at it, from few people trading to a pit-based trading to today, a totally democratized access to markets and information is what BSE stands for, thanks to the regulatory developments in India and its journey along with it. At this moment, it is very important for us to stand for a moment and think of all the great contributions, all the great people who have been heading this organization in these 150 years have done for the growth of this company, the growth of the economic development of the market, and making India shine as one of the stars in the entire world.
Indeed, Mr. Ramamurthy, congratulations on that, and all the best for the next 50 years. May it be even stronger for all of you. Well, let's talk about business then. You know, the National Stock Exchange has gone ahead and they've tinkered with the expiry day, right? They have shifted it to Monday. The question is BSE thinking of changing your expiry day? That's going to be the big question. Have you had a look at it? And by when could we hear a response coming in from the BSE in terms of tinkering with the expiry day, or will you all stay status quo Tuesday?
As you may recall, I was working with NSE for a significantly long time.
Indeed.
Since inception of derivatives in various facets of market development, investor protection, investor awareness creation, surveillance, clearing and settlement. Thursday has been a hallmark expiry day for a significantly long time.
Right.
With introduction of multiple products, there were expiry days on all days, which left only BSE to choose Friday at that point of time to have an expiry day. The past has told us clubbing expiry days to a single day does not help in the product serving its utility for the market.
Okay.
The product, for example, Sensex expiry coincided with Thursday expiry for a very long time. And despite multiple efforts, Sensex did not take off.
Yeah.
And when we changed the product specification, the utility of the product was visible. When we made it very close to Thursday, because we had no other choice, while its utility was not coming out in full.
Yes.
The concentration of trading activity on the expiry day was far higher.
Yeah.
And today, when we shifted it to Tuesday, interspersing with time, the concentration on expiry day activity has almost halved, very clearly indicating the economic significance of a product could be well achieved, particularly if it is a highly correlated product, by interspersing some amount of days in between, by properly spreading the contract so that people will use it for the desired purpose of hedging themselves against volatility for different periods of time across the week, across next week and across month. That is our thought process. So far as what is going to be BSE's stand is the market feedback that we received from people whom we approached and people who approached us. The point that underlines is that there should be a spread between two expiries.
Okay.
What it should be, how it should be are nuances. We need to see how the market spans out in respect of all this. Since we are having too many other realignments already happening, anything done in a hurry will not help in the product development and economic development. So at this point of time, we are assimilating all the announcements, changes, and we will come out with a stand, what will be useful for the product.
All right, two-part question, sir, on that. What's the probability of you changing the expiry day? Is it high, going by what you have got back in terms of a feedback? Point number one. Point number 2 is, by when will you respond to this? If there is a change, it appears that for April, there may not be a change. You can correct me if I'm wrong on that. By when do we hear a response from the BSE?
See, I would like to reiterate that BSE's expiry was next to NSE's expiry of Nifty and Bank Nifty for a significantly long time when it was relaunched, notwithstanding that Sensex was trying to find a feet. But only thing what it was not able to achieve is proper economic significance of itself. So whether in the revised situation when BSE Sensex is establishing itself as a clearly important product, what should be the action should be carefully thought about. It cannot be defined in terms of time horizon. It has to be talked about in terms of the entire realignment.
Indeed. But there's a probability you'll look at changing it.
No probability can be ever ruled out. Only ascribing a percentage high or low will be very difficult at this point.
All right, Mr. Ramamurthy, let's tell you then what the street believes. They believe that BSE, the rough market share is in the early 20s, around 22% or thereabouts. And they believe that, in fact, because NSE has gone ahead and tinkered with the expiry day, BSE could lose market share. Do you think that's the case?
So here, no, I need to clarify to you, as I have always been telling to media and press, BSE in derivatives will not run behind market share. Because we always believe BSE's market share is 100%. Because the product is unique, right?
But investors want to know, sir, because your market share has gone up and you'll have gained significant traction from the time you came at the helm, from the time you all tinkered with your expiry day as well. So the street's fear is you lose market share now. Respond to that.
So the point that I would make is BSE strives very hard to deepen and broaden market. When you deepen and broaden market, what you term as market share is actually a corollary. That is not the main goal. What do we mean by deepening and broadening of market? We want more investors who are eligible to trade in derivatives to trade. We have more FPIs to trade, who have long-term perspective on the Indian market. We have more brokers. We have a farther spread. That's what we will work upon. Whatever product change, whatever product development effort required to achieve this is what we will do. That will by itself result in whatever market share it has to result in. I would also reiterate, BSE's expiry was next to the expiry of two big contracts of this market when it gained its foothold and started growing. So it is very difficult to predict what the market would be in future based on one change. Does that close out any option? Certainly not. Does it create any jitter or fear? No. Because the goal is very clear. The goal is deepening and broadening market.
Okay. All right. Let's drift away then. Let's talk about the SEBI consultation paper that's come out. The fear is that the trading volumes will get curbed, and in turn, it could impact your turnover, the average traded quantity as well. Could you tell us what are the key takeaways that you have seen in this consultation paper, and also any kind of recommendations, any thoughts on this SEBI consultation paper?
Very good question. The SEBI's role inter alia has two important points. One is market development and the second is investor protection. If you look at all the activities of SEBI with regard to derivatives, with regard to anything till now, and particularly with regard to derivatives, what we have been seeing since October, has been to achieve this twin objective. The objective of no regulator will be to curtail the market and make its liquidity dry up. At the same time, along with development, it should also be worrying about investor protection. If you look at all the discussion that is happening, it's all happening in that way. The key takeaway for us is, this is the goal and this is the process. In the process, always there will be some outcome from the expert working group. But SEBI does not feel it is complete without taking the consultation from public. That is the very reason why the consultation paper gets published. Multiple people have given a lot of feedback is what we are hearing. How to ensure that there is an open position limit, particularly I think in terms of index derivatives, which is very heavily talked about. How to have an open position limit at a client level, at the same time aid market development. Regulatory process in India is a very healthy and co-created process. Regulators have not ever acted in a silo without consulting market views. So I am sure this time as well, while expert group has come out with a consultation paper to seek and solicit views from the markets, and which has come out in a very big number to the regulators, all these factors will be considered, and the appropriate time, with the appropriate time, the right thing for the market to ensure the twin objective of market development and investor protection will be done by the regulator. That is our strong feeling.
Okay, all right. The market has gone a little bit soft in the last few months, and there's been a bit of a correction as well. There are also curves that could probably be in the offing. What is the fall you have seen in total turnover from BSE if you compare it with averages of the recent past? How much lower are volumes, in the last month or so in comparison to earlier?
In terms of cash market, while the average daily traded volume has grown up for us, in terms of percentage market share, it has not grown up significantly. It's hovering around 6.5 to 7%. In between, it touched up to 10% to 10.5%, but it is not growing. There are a host of reasons for it. Some of the major reforms which are in the offing are yet to take off for various reasons. One is common contract note, which has been a huge demand from the institutional players.
Okay.
For various reasons, it has been getting postponed from October to November, now to April 30th. We hope that it should come out. The second is, the next important participant in cash market is retail. For the retail to participate, the mobile apps are very important. Many a times today what you find is the mobile apps provided by the brokers do not afford level playing field. There has been quite a few SEBI interventions in this regard. We hope all of them will fructify. Any directive directly to from the regulators to the brokers will also help in this area. So that is the second thing which is work in progress. If these two happens, people who are liquidity providers will come into the market. We feel there is a huge potential for a complementary growth of BSE in cash market. There again a complementary growth where the pie itself can grow and BSE's market share can grow.
As of now, you're saying BSE's market share is around 6-7% or thereabouts in the cash market, and cash market volumes haven't really got impacted.
No, they have gone up slightly as average daily traded
And that was
volume.
something that you spoke about in the past as well. You said maybe the derivatives market volumes will fall, but you'll see a shift towards the cash market volumes. So you've briefly spoken about this in the past as well. In the derivatives market, what is the volume fall? And if you could tell us, what is your updated market share over there?
So overall, the notional turnover across the exchanges, I think has come down by around 40%, and premium has come down by 17%. While I would continue to reiterate my earlier stand, we don't run behind market share. Our market share is 100%.
Okay.
In terms of what numbers you ask, for your question purposes alone, the notional volumes have fallen down in BSE by around 17%, etc. No, the premium volumes have been stabilized as far as Sensex is concerned. There has not been any significant fall, but that I will call as a catch-up part and also a process of realignment. BankX is not seeing much volumes because it will take time for it to develop as a monthly product as against a weekly product.
Okay, all right. Very quickly, sir, there is that clearing cooperation dispute between the exchanges, and reports suggest there's been a nudge from SEBI to bury the hatchet and move on. Is there any such talks about that with regard to these reports, the clearing cooperation dispute that's currently in the works? And also just one more, since we're talking about NSE, there is this guarantee fund that they have, settlement guarantee fund. And since y'all are growing in terms of volumes as well, do you believe that you'll have to provide on that aspect as well, clearing cooperation as well as SGF? Please go ahead, sir.
So as of today, BSE has no dues towards any clearing corporation whatsoever.
Right, but now volumes are going up. So will you make a provision in the time to come?
You're talking of SGF?
Yes.
I was replying the earlier question.
All right, okay.
So as of now, BSE does not have any dues to any clearing corporation.
Yes.
What I understand is NSE has some dues to be paid to ICCL. Indeed, the matter has been raised to the regulators by both the parties. I am sure as matured exchanges and clearing corporation, there will be a solution in the offing.
Okay.
With regard to SGF, there is always a problem with regard to SGF because the algorithm is very difficult to predict what could be the SGF requirement. What you could predict, you could provide for.
Yes.
If the algorithm is not conducive, if there is a past for you to sort of rely upon and see what could be the number, that also could be provided for. As you would recall, despite multiple effort by various people in the past, till the last 2 years, BSE has not been seeing any activity either in its exchange or in its clearing corporation. Things are changing a bit.
Okay.
So we need to study how the SGF behavior is with regard to ICCL.
Okay.
If we can find an algorithm whereby we can sort of forecast what could be our contribution, then it could be provided as an expenditure in P&L on a proactive basis, and then it could be substantiating SGF. But it is some time. It is some work in progress. It's not easy.
All right, the other one work in progress is the NSE IPO. Will it be competition, or how do you view that? You have been part of the NSE in the past as well. That's been the big buzz.
I'm no longer part of NSE. This is a question well answered by NSE.
Okay, all right. Thanks a lot, Mr. Ramamurthy, for speaking to us here on CNBC-TV18. Congratulations on the 150 years, and thanks a lot for clearing out a lot of those doubts.
Namaskar.
Back to you all in the studio.
All right, Nigel, thanks for that. Very, very interesting conversation there with the BSE talking about overall drop in, of course, F&O volumes as the regulations have been tightened. Their market share now are about 6 to 7% in the cash market, that is, and they're hoping that that will continue to grow and, of course, looking at more clarity on several regulatory issues.